Please welcome the Hebrew Hammer, Congressman Randy Fine.
Well, thank you, everybody. 1 year ago, I was here at RJC as a member of the Florida House of Representatives. I never in my wildest imagination would have thought 1 year later I would be America's newest Jewish Republican congressman. But God has a plan for us all. I grew up the victim of rampant, systemic, and physical anti-Semitism, where it was not safe for me to eat in the cafeteria with the other students, where a brave school principal saved my life by letting me hide in his office when I needed to. Facing violence no 12-year-old ever should have to, on the day of my bar mitzvah, I promised I would do everything that I could to make sure my children did not face what I did. And for 8 years, as a member of the Florida legislature, I worked hard to deliver on that promise, to make Florida the safest place in America to be Jewish. Those of you who are from Florida know that. We were the first state to adopt the IRA definition of anti-Semitism, to name CARE a terrorist organization, to ensure Jewish day schools had adequate security, and to make sure terrorist encampments could never take hold at Florida's universities. Every one of those was my bill. But October 7th showed me that I had not done enough. Like many of you, I made it my mission to make Donald J. Trump our next president. I saw him, and I still do, as the world's last best hope. Imagine where we would be if Kamala Harris had won. I skipped my own victory party to the Florida Senate to be there to celebrate President Trump's win. I breathed a sigh of relief. I thought that my work was done. Well, man plans and God laughs. 2 weeks later, before I even had a chance to take my oath of office as a member of the Florida Senate, President Trump asked me to run for Congress to replace Mike Waltz, our new UN ambassador. It was not my plan. It certainly wasn't my family's. But God puts us where he wants us to be. 7 months ago, on this exact day, I got elected to Congress. And I see so many friends in the audience who made that happen. Barbara Feingold was there the night I spoke to the president. My mom died 5 days before President Trump asked me to run. And she's my honorary Jewish grandmother. My honorary Jewish mother, she'll be mad at me now. Matt Brooks and Norm Coleman and Matt Bogdanoff made an exception to the RJC's primary endorsement policy to endorse me the day I announced. Now, when you're on the home team, you ought to get that exception. Mark Levin featured me on his show. I ran against a guy, it was crazy, who marketed himself literally, marketed himself as a Muslim bisexual, because those go together, drug addict. I swear. Yet he raised $15 million in small dollar donations from a country whose first name starts with Q in order to run against me. But all of you helped me get there. And for the last 7 months, I've tried to make you proud. I'm the first member of Congress in American history to wear a Keepa. And I'm going to tell you why. I am not Orthodox. But when I got to Congress, they put me on the Education Committee. And on May the 6th, we had our first hearing to deal with anti-Semitism. And in that morning, my son, Jacob, who's 17 years old, said, "Dad, I think you should wear a kippah today." And I said, "Why? We only wear a kippah at services." He said, "Because I have friends like these down here who go to college and who are afraid to wear theirs. So you go wear one for them." And I did. And I gave those college presidents a piece of my mind. And at the end of that day, you should find the YouTube videos. At the end of the day, my son said, "Dad, I want you to keep wearing it until every college student feels safe permanently wearing their kippah." So I did. 3 days later, Speaker Johnson invited me to be the Speaker pro tem of the U.S. House of Representatives. And when I was up there on the stage, As I looked out in the gallery, I'm listening to Democrats talk. It's very boring. I'm looking at who's coming into the gallery, and I see an Orthodox family come in. I know it's an Orthodox family. They have 10 kids. They're wearing tzitzit, black coat, the whole thing. I see them up there. And all of a sudden, the kids are pointing at me. I'm like, what do I do? Do I have my hair messed up? And then I realized they were pointing at me because they saw someone who looked like them. And I turned to the staff in that moment and I said, has anybody ever worn a kippah? And they said, no. In the 249-year history of the United States, you were the first member of Congress to ever wear a kippah. And so I wear it, not so much for religious reasons, but to send a message that we will not be afraid, that we will lean into the fight, and we will never again apologize for who we are. You know, I have a lot of stories I could tell about what I've done to beat up the left. I called Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib Muslim terrorists. They didn't like it very much. I said, the truth is an absolute defense. I've called for Zohran Mandami to be deported. The only thing I want to see him running for is his gate at JFK on the deportation flight to Uganda. And I think we have to face a hard truth. If you think about, look at the polling in New York. When people who just moved here to become citizens are voting in a diametrically opposed way to people who were born here, it means that we have failed as a country to have immigration for those who share our values. We need to go back and take a hard look at those things. And I could stand up here all day and take shots at the left. I like it. It's how I got that nickname they told you, the Hebrew Hammer. But I'm here for the kids down here because it's easy to talk about anti-Semitism on the left. I want to talk about the dark force rising on our side. Multiple speakers have talked about the rise of anti-Semitism on the right. But it is not enough to speak in platitudes or generalities about the fight. We must call evil by its name. 5 years ago, if I was talking to my father, who's watching, hi Dad, if I was talking to my father at 8:59 p.m. at night, he would say, Randy, I gotta go. Tucker Carlson's gonna be on. But make no mistake, today, Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous anti-Semite in America. He has chosen to take on the mantle of leader of a modern-day Hitler Youth, to broadcast and feature those who celebrate the Nazis, those who call for the extermination of Israel, to defend Hamas, to even criticize President Trump for stopping Iran's nuclear ambitions. Friends, make no mistake. Tucker is not MAGA. Tucker's fall from grace has been one of the most extraordinary implosions in political history. And the rapidity of it has created real challenges for us all. Because our friends don't have our shared experience. I even deal with this with my colleagues in the House. See, they remember the Tucker of 5 years ago. They don't live with anti-Semitism every day. They don't think about it the way that we do. And it's jarring for them to try to understand, how did this person become who he is today? But the challenge is he's inspired a movement of hate in our midst. And I'm not done calling people out. I have the distinct displeasure of serving with two overt anti-Semites. You know, there was a time in the Democratic Party where they probably, when I was a kid, I was always a Republican. And I thought the liberals were dumb, but I never thought they were anti-Semitic. And there came a time in the last 30 years where probably they had one or two in Congress who were anti-Semitic. And you know what they did? They said, it's no big deal. They're the fringe. No one listens to them. No one will believe them. And they didn't do anything about it, and look where we are now. Well, I have to serve with those two people now. Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Some days, Some days I marvel at their stupidity. Other days, at their evil. It makes my stomach crawl that I have to sit in the same room with them. So now we have to choose. Will we ignore these embarrassments to our party? Will we pretend they don't matter or that they don't exist? Will we make the same mistakes that Democrats made so many years ago? I know what I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose to fight. For organizations like the Heritage Foundation, whose CEO stated that opposing Tucker's bigotry makes us some kind of venomous coalition. I thought about actually printing that out and putting it right here, venomous coalition over our name. I guess I need to find a pet snake. I was supposed to do an event with Heritage next week, I think on Wednesday. They don't know what I'm about to tell you. Right now we're canceling it. They will have no future in my office, and I will be calling on all of my colleagues on the Republican side to do the same. If those who support Tucker Carlson want to see a venomous coalition, all they need to do is go look in the mirror. In our faith, we have fought the forces of evil for 3,000 years. We've never been afraid, because we're guided by Hashem's demand that we bring light to the world, that we stand before the darkness and we be prepared to do what is right. God puts us where he wants us to be, not just for me as a congressman, but for all of you, for all of these kids down here, for all of you in the audience. God wants you to be right here, right now, engaged in that fight. And today in this room and at this time, we speak with one loud and convincing truth. We will not let our party fall to this darkness. We will not let our country give in to this evil. And as we have done rhetorically, spiritually, and physically, not just for the last 2 years, but for the past 2,000 years, we will bring truth and light and goodness to the world. We will fight together with RJC, with Matt Brooks, Norm Coleman, with Speaker Johnson, and the greatest friend, not that just Israel has ever had, but American Jews have ever had, President Donald J. Trump. Because God didn't just put me where he wants us to be. He didn't just put you where he wants you to be. He put President Trump where he wants him to be as well. May God bless you all. May God bless our spiritual homeland of Israel. And may God bless the United States, the greatest nation in the history of the world. Thank you all very much.